Good morning, Christina. Hi, Karen. Stephanie, frigid. I know, my goodness. It's frigid here too, Stephanie. Hi, Janice. Good freezing morning. You got that right. I even have on a sweatshirt. And I'm in the house, which is crazy. I think it's like 5 out here. Just before I get started, can you guys see the whole screen? It's not like last week where it was kind of cut off. I just want to make sure before I don't get on a roll. Good morning, Danette. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Donna. Darn right cold, Parma. Parma Heights, Ohio. Hi, Donna. I always look forward to your check-in. In Missouri, I know. My cousin in South Carolina, they're getting snow today. How crazy is that? Okay, thanks, Christina. Screen's good. Awesome. Okay, good. I didn't want to go on a roll and then have a last week happen again. How you guys doing today? Did you have a great New Year's, I hope? Are you all excited? Celebration starts today. Woohoo! I know I'm a little more excited than I should be, but who doesn't like free stuff? And there's so many things that you can earn, so I thought I'd share that with you guys today. We'll just go on a quick through with the catalog, and then I thought we could use the Brusho. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not. I've never worked with it before, but it's like it's a crystal, Brusho crystal color. It's a watercoloring technique, but it's with a powder. So I'll explain that as we go along, but it's pretty cool. Northwest Ohio. Oh, that's where you're from, Stephanie. Northwest Ohio. Oh, sunny Tucson. I hear that Tucson is the only place I think that's warm in the United States. Somebody was saying yesterday it was like 77 degrees. How nice that would be right now. I would love 77 degrees. I'm a little jealous. Yeah, cold and Snowmageddon on the East Coast. You got that right. I think Tammy and Linda are probably going to be getting a snowstorm today. Hopefully that doesn't interfere with their broadcast. They're going to do a whole celebration showcase with all the cards and everything later today. If you guys want to swing over there later, you can catch Linda on CraftyStampin.com, and you can catch Tammy on StampWithTammy.com, and they do a show every Tuesday usually called the Stampin' Scoop, and they show you cool stuff like cards and everything. And they moved it to today since everything was going to be going live today. That way they could show you the catalogs and whatnot. So speaking of the catalogs, I can finally show you the inside. So this is Celebration. Woohoo! Celebration starts today and it runs through March 31st. And the Occasions catalog is finally live, and I can flip through it and show you all the things that are in here. So much fun. There's so many cool sets in here. It's like a nice refresh after, after this week of coldness. It's kind of like a little spring. Now, I want to tell you, just to get started, a few things before we start. So with Celebration, sometimes it can be a little bit, I guess, like missed is the best way to put it. Some of these stamp sets, when it gets towards the ends or whatever it may be, like, so they have this 3 spools of ribbon, which is a Celebration item. I have everything that I have here. That way I can share it with you, but you can get these 3 spools of ribbon for $50. So it's like a Calypso coral and then like a smoky slate, and then this one is really thin, like a Bermuda Bay. Well, some of these items, when it gets towards the end, for example, specifically the ribbon, they are like while supplies last. So you need the pandas. I think a lot of people like the pandas, Darcy. So if you really, really want something in this catalog, and I know it sounds ridiculous because it just started today, but if there's something that you really love, you really should order it like as your beginning product, because there is a chance, not with the stamp set so much, because Stampin' Up does make the stamp sets, but like with there's also like a card kit in here. Memories and More, that should be one that hangs around. That's a free set. But the Designer Series paper, that coordinates with there's a bundle in here, the Bubble Over bundle, so you can make like beer bottles or soda. There's a lot of really cool ideas too if you haven't seen on Pinterest. But a lot of these things, like, they are as supplies last. Kind of the same way it goes with the Christmas and the holiday catalog, that they only carry certain things through to certain times. And I will tell you, I have seen so many cards with these pandas. I don't have the pandas. That's probably the one thing I didn't get when I did my pre-order. But like there's a Tutti Frutti cards and envelopes set. So it has cards and then envelopes that coordinate with it. This would be something that probably would only last for a certain amount of time. So if you really think you would like to get this, order this in the beginning. And then if you do another order, do like a stamp set. Or you could just do a big order and do a lot of stuff. But the other thing that they've done this year is they have 2 items that are... So, okay. Everything in Celebration, if you purchase $50, that's before tax, you get to pick one thing for free. But this year, they added 2 things for $100. So they have these thinlets, which you saw we used last week on this awesome card that we made with the double embossing powder. It's got the silver and then the copper at the bottom. So this is one of those. So it's Celebrate and then Amazing and You. And these actually are going to go into the annual catalog. So that catalog that hasn't come out yet, so it'll be next year's catalog, you can get this for free now instead of buying it. But it also coordinates with this really nice stamp set. So that's Amazing You. So this one is $100, so you would have to buy $100 to get that free. That's called, I think, a level 2 or tier 2. And then the other one they have is this really big stamp set. And normally, like a stamp set this size, they would do in photopolymer. But actually, it is in, hold on, I'll show you. It is in either clear or wood mount. So instead of photopolymer, it's a clear stamp set. So it's got this big one, which is the Happy. And that has some little scripty sentiments, which I really love these. These remind me of the, if you guys remember, the stamp sets that they had long ago that had like the swirl and then it would say Happy and the swirl. I loved those because you could add flowers to them. And that was like a big thing, I guess, whenever it was that I was stamping back then. But I love the script on these. And then there's another one that says Best. So same thing. So this is a 2-pack stamp set. So you get both of these. And these are a $100 Celebration item. So you get these. This would be one bundle, so it's two packages. These would be $100, and then the thinlets would be $100. Or you could do, so the ribbon is a $50. Here's the ribbon. And then there also is the Epic Celebrations, which I saw a really cool card yesterday. Somebody used the headphones and the guitar, and they stamped it all over the back of the card. And then they used the layering circles, and they made a record, and they put it on top. Such a cool idea. I wish I could remember who that was, but I can't remember who it was right now. So this is a cool one. And then the other one is the Peacock, which that one's, I think, in the front. This is a pretty popular one. So here's the Epic Celebration one. And then the Peacock is here, which is a beautiful, beautiful stamp set. The Peacock. And you could do a lot of different stuff, even just with the tails of this. So you could use them you could trim them out if you wanted to. These don't have a thinlet. So this right here, if you can see a stamp, they actually did trim that. But there's a lot of other things in here too that I kind of glossed over. There's this really beautiful lavender stamp set. Everyone seems to really love that one as well. There's a card kit that you can get for $50. So this has envelopes. It makes 8 trifold cards. And then you have the envelopes that go with it. There's also this beautiful, people love this. This, when you actually create it, if you can see from this, and it really probably doesn't do it justice, it really looks 3D. So this is a beautiful stamp set. And the stamp is crazy because when you get it, it looks flat. And a lot of people have said, how is this possibly going to create a 3D image? But it is really beautiful. They have a lot of examples on this stamp set. And then you have your Memories and More, if you guys are scrapbookers. So there's a Memories and More set that's free. The paper, Designer Series paper. Of course, the pandas, which I think I'm going to have to get the pandas. And then Amazing You. This is kind of like the Celebrate. I'm like, which one is that? I can't remember which one it is, but it has the bridge. That's one of my favorite stamp sets with the sunburst in the background. But these go really well together. I mean, just like this one I said last week, I still just happen to have this on my desk, that you could do this as a negative die. So there's a negative card, so you could cut out the celebrate. You could use the celebrate for something else, and then you could make a negative card and then add something into it. But what the celebration brochure does tell you is like what else will go with it in the regular occasions catalog if you wanted to make it. And it tells you, you know, what uses free items and whatnot. So every $50 you purchase, you get one thing out of here free. And if you get $100, instead of buying 2 things that you might already have, or 2 packs of ribbon, if you've already gone through everything that you wanted, you can pick one of the $100 items. But there's a lot of really fun stuff in here. So the happy birthday stamp set, I got this. I love this. It's just 2 stamps. It's just the happy birthday, and then the many wishes for you. And this would really coordinate well with this other stamp set, the Picture Perfect stamp set, which this one has a really pretty stamp set. It has multiple step stamps and a designer series paper that goes along with it, which is really cool. They have really very, very realistic, you guys saw me use this last week, very realistic pictures on here. Really cool. But I do want to tell you one thing, and this is something that was completely out of the control of Stampin' Up. They tried their best to resolve it, but it just didn't happen. So apparently the company that makes this ribbon, there was a big issue with, I believe it was either a fire or some problem with the factory. So this ribbon is not going to be purchasable. The Picture Perfect paper ribbon, we weren't even able to get it. It happened, I think, back in November where something happened with the factory. So this is gone. This is never going to be orderable. Just the ribbon. But everything else in here, you know, we do have a lot of other ribbons that you can substitute. I got a bunch of ribbons actually kind of at the end of the year that I figured I could fit in. This is an ombre ribbon. I don't remember what color this is. I think it's Calypso Coral. This is an ombre ribbon. And then there's an Island Indigo that's the same. And a striped Dapper Denim. And then there's a really, really thin sheer ribbon. This is Calypso Coral. So any of those would go really well with this stamp set as well. And what you could also do, if you wanted to, there's a really pretty organza ribbon that's a little bit farther into the catalog. It's stuck underneath of something. You could take your either your Stampin' Write markers or your Stampin' Blends, and you could color this, and then it could be any color that you wanted. So that's another good idea if you're trying to add something in. But basically, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to just quickly skim through this. I'm going to tell you one thing. If you think this might be something you want, you have to have a lot of patience for this, because this card is absolutely adorable. It's Let the Good Times Roll. It's a roller coaster, but it is a lot of bending and scoring and work. It was very difficult for me to figure out how to use this. And it does close, but it doesn't close flat. But it still will mail. But it is a really cool card. That's about as far as I got because the holidays kind of took over and I didn't get to play with it. But you can layer all these things on top of it. It does have little roller coasters, little cart, balloons, all kinds of fun stuff. And it does have a coordinating die set. That's how you make the actual roller coaster part, is with the die. Or you could just get the stamp set if you just wanted to make a card that had like a 2D roller coaster on it. But I'm just going to tell you now, a lot of work. So if you don't have patience, don't order this set because it is very detailed. So just be wary. But there's a lot of really other fun stuff in here. They have these, where did I put them? Because I had to put everything separated. That way I wouldn't make a full mess this time. So they have these beautiful, and I just want to get to this part. These beautiful boxes. And these are a mini gable box. So it's like a treat box that you put together. And what this is a little box. And they also have this Ready Shreddy. So it's like color coordinated paper that you can decorate these boxes with. So they're really cool. But the other one that's in the back that I wanted to show you, this is actually the reason I bought those boxes, because I wasn't going to get it. Let's see if I can get there. Oh, just a quick pause. This is a beautiful stamp set. Great stamp set for Easter. But I have already thought of a couple additional ideas for it. This is one that Brandy Cox, she's one of the $1 Million sellers with Stampin' Up. She helped design this. Beautiful, beautiful stamp set. But another use that I thought for this would be with the cross. If you have, and I haven't taken these out yet, obviously, as you can see. But if you had like a a floral card in the background, like a flower, you could cut a bunch of these out and make them like split post fences that line up in front of it. So it could be like a fence. That's another way you could do it. There's a lot of things that you could do with this, but that's kind of one that I thought off right away. But you could make a card if you have like someone that's doing a first communion or a christening. You could make a card and do some little dots and make your own really beautiful crucifix. You could do this with like silver foil paper, would be so beautiful, or if you wanted to do a bigger one. But this is a gorgeous, gorgeous set. And this one also featured the gable boxes, which is really pretty. And then there was another one in the back. Let me see if I can get to that real quick so I don't put you guys to sleep. This set. So this In the Trees set, which I thought was so cute. It has this like congratulations banner. You have your little hammock. But they also did one where they colored onto the gable boxes. And then I believe what they did is they flipped them inside out. So I'm going to have to look into this because the silver I believe is on the inside, but you could stamp on the boxes and then color them in, which would be so pretty. So I love this set because it just reminded me of, you know, it's freezing outside, summer, hanging out in the yard, the grass growing. It's such a pretty set. So that was one that I absolutely had to get. I love that one. And then this one is another one that was a favorite, but I will tell you, I thought I ordered the designer series paper, but I forgot. So what I did with this is, this has a washi tape combo pack, and it has coordinating dies for the stamp set, and it also has glimmer paper that goes along with it. So there's 3 different colors. So it's like kind of like, they haven't really named them as colors, but I would say it's like a cross between Old Olive and Lemon Lime Twist. This is very close to like a Bermuda Bay Island Indigo combo, and this is kind of like Dazzling Diamonds, but it's got more of an iridescent ice kind of look to it. So these 3 come in a pack. So you could definitely like glitter up your any card that you make. I mean, there's a lot of suggestions here, but again, Pinterest has a ton of ideas. But yesterday, I hung out with my nieces, and we colored these together with the Stampin' Blends, and made some really fun little guys. I just have to trim them all out, and my niece helped me. I'm gonna see if I can find her. She helped me, so sweet. She's gonna be 7 at the end of this month, and she helped me color in the wizards and the knight. I think she did a super job, but this one she got a little bit carried away with her Wink of Stella, as all little girls do. But this is such a fun set to color in with the Stampin' Blends. And then the other cool thing is, and I wish I had the paper to show you this, but the designer series paper also has these images. So it has the dragon and the mermaid. So if you didn't want to color them, you could just use your framelits, trim them out, and then you'd have the set ready to go. So a lot of fun. I know that I have a lot of kids that I send cards to, and they're going to just love getting these cards because they're so fun. And another set that I thought was really great that everybody's going to really be into, because people seem to have a hard time with the dude cards, is this one. And I actually was starting to case this yesterday, but I didn't get finished with it last night. But this is a great stamp. All you have to do, look at this. You just use the punch. So it has this really cool punch that goes along with it. So you just punch these guys out, and then it has a layer with, I'm not sure what color they use, but I kind of brought Dapper Denim in because, I'm sorry, not Dapper Denim, Tranquil Tide, because it kind of coordinated. And then I was thinking it would be a little bit fun to add in some Lemon Lime Twist and the sentiment, but I just never finished getting to it. But all you do is you could just piece these in. And what I did is I just punched a bunch of these out. And this is from the designer series paper stack, and it's called True Gentleman. It's got a lot of really fun patterns in it. Some pipes and mustaches, and you know, I mustache you a question. I'm so corny, I can't even help it. But look at that, houndstooth. Love that. So cool. So this should make making your cards for all the guys that you struggle with making cards for so much easier. And then the stamp set that goes with it is really cool, truly tailored. You can stamp some of this in the same. You could then like pop the grand up on a different color. Really a lot of fun with this stamp set. So this will be a lot of fun to look forward to as well. And now I'm going to show you, see if I can find it in here without making a gigantic mess. I will tell you one thing that I can't order until today, is I cannot wait to get my hands on this Cozy Cottage. This is a Hostess stamp. So it's in the back. So it comes with this cottage. And then you have the little brick wall and the chairs and the flowers and some really pretty sentiments. I'm really excited. I was so bummed. I thought I could get this ahead of time, but I'm going to have to place another order so I can get this. So you can order a Hostess stamp set if you have a qualifying order, which is, I believe, $150. You can pick this as your Stampin' Rewards. And then they have another one, which is Yay You. So it has a little banner and all kinds of fun stuff that fits in there. So this is the actual size. So all this stuff will be a little bit bigger. And then same with the cottage. The cottage is actual size. This stuff will also be a little bit bigger as well. So lots of fun stuff that we can do. And let me see if I can find my way back to the Brusho here so I can show you that a little bit real quick before we start. I did end up making a really simple card that I started out with the other day. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it now. And what I used is the waterfront stamp set. Okay, here's the Brusho. It was right back where I thought I was. I used the waterfront stamp set to kind of get started, and then I just went from there. And this is another really, really pretty stamp set. I just want to show you that because I think I missed it. It's so dry here. Between the dry and the freezing. Okay, this is another one. So this was designed by Connie Halsey. She's another $1 million stamp set designer, or $1 million salesperson, I should say, with Stampin' Up. So this is a gorgeous, gorgeous stamp set. Very soft. You can kind of make anything watercolory. But what I did was I actually made this with the Brusho, and it was really, really simple. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. And then the Brusho is back here. You can do a lot of different things with the Brusho. You can either make a background card. So I'll show you a couple different things. You could make a background card. You could clear emboss something and then paint it. You could just kind of freestyle or make it your own, just depending on what you want to do. So when you order the Brusho, it comes with these 5 pots. Really is what they are. So they're 5 containers of color. So I said this before, just as a reminder, you never want to open this with the lid because it is really, really fine and it will be everywhere. So what they have advised you to do, and you could do it whatever way you want. I haven't ever worked with this before, so I figured I'd kind of stick with one. But they suggest that you poke a couple pinholes in your top of it. That way you can shake it out. But honestly, I found with just one and tapping it, it works pretty well. So what I happened to find was color-coordinated thumbtacks. The hardest one for me to find, honestly, was the orange, because I have a lot of thumbtacks, even though I don't have a board, which is kind of funny. But I found the thumbtacks. That way it'd be easy for me to say what color it was that I wanted. So what I did is I just put a pinhole in the top of each one. That way you can keep this in, so it'll keep it closed so it doesn't make a mess and go everywhere, okay? And what I made was, so I did this card the other day. Let me just show you this card that I made the other day. And it was so pretty, I couldn't even cut it down. So I just ended up making a really long card. So then what I could do is just use my envelope punch board and then just make a card, or make an envelope that will fit this card, okay? Or you could even use, like, if you had a larger envelope from something. We have a lot of envelopes from I order my greeting cards because I order like 150 of them from Costco. So I have some really big cards. So I could pop that in there as well. But the envelope punch board I actually have really been using a lot lately, making my own cards, or my own envelopes, I should say. So what I did was I started out by stamping the little mountain here. Okay, so I stamped the mountain kind of in the background a couple times. And then I stamped what I made into a lake. I'm not really sure if it is supposed to be a lake, but I stamped the lake at the bottom. And then I kind of just went from there with my Brusho. So it was really easy to use, especially with the watercolor pens that Stampin' Up sells. So that you get 2 of them. One of them has like a fatter tip, one of them has a finer tip, but the actual tip end of them is really very detailed, believe it or not, because I got these lines just by going in and using darker color just with this. And I am no artiste. I will tell you that right now. I do my very best to try, but I don't really think I'm very talented. I think I have good luck sometimes. But then the other thing I did is I added a little bit of Wink of Stella onto the water, so it would have like a glisten. And then I added a little bit to the sunset. And then I kind of just went up and drew some stuff in there that I thought might be in the desert. And then yesterday I was fooling around and I think I got a good start, and then I got a little crazy with the trees. So I just wanted to do something that was like monochromatic. So what I did is I started the same thing again with stamping just the mountain image, and I stamped it at the top in Sahara sand, and then I went down and I did it in crumb cake, and then I went down and I did it in soft suede. I skipped chocolate chip because chocolate chip is a little bit redder if you've ever noticed, and I went to early espresso, and then I kind of just went back in with the early espresso, filled in a little color, and then I decided to add some trees at the bottom. But this is more tone on tone, and honestly, I think if we're really being truthful, I probably would just cut it off here and make it a shorter card. But it's very, very easy to use. It's very easy to blend, and I'm going to show you a couple different things that you could do with it today. And I'm probably not going to have the full finished product because, as you know, I'm making this up as I go along. These are the only 2 examples that I have. But I will post full products later on today to the blog when I finish, like actually finishing the card, so you guys can see what it looks like. But you could use this Brusho and just make like a washed background. And then you could put like a punched image on top of it, for example, that said, "Today is all about you." So you could do a watercolor background. You could do this, punch it out, and just lay it on top would be a great one. You could also, this is another idea that I thought would be really pretty. You could take a flower, because in the book they did show you that they have the butterfly. So you could do this with either clear or white embossing on white paper, and then you could fill in the color, but you kind of want to let it go outside the line so it looks watercolory. But you could use this with an image if you already have one like this. So there's lots of different things you can do. So let's get started, and we will figure out what we're going to make today. Oh, one thing I forgot. The True Gentleman Suite also has this really cool, it's like a velour? I don't know, what would you even call that? Corduroy ribbon. I don't know if you can even see how detailed that is. It's really, really, really cool. You could use the other side if you wanted to, but this ribbon is so neat. And then they also have buttons. These old buttons. I love these buttons. They're so cute. So you could put like a little bit of baker's twine through those and add them to it. But they have a lot of extra detailed touches in the dude stuff too. You know, because us ladies can't leave well enough alone. We got to add buttons and ribbons to everything, right? Okay, so let me move these couple things out of the way. I'm going to keep these 2 here in case we do something with them. Move this out of the way. And one thing I will tell you is you need to have a lot of, not workspace, but space that can kind of get messy when you do this Brusho, because you're going to need to be able to wipe your brush off. So what I would suggest, move this out of the way. And I'm going to tell you one other thing too at the end about paper pumpkin. But what I would suggest is to have like an old tea towel or hand towel or something like that, just so you can clean your brush off. And I use this a lot. Another thing that you can use, if you guys are familiar with the chamois, the car washing, this is from a different company that actually sell these. But you could, if you have one of these, it's like the thing that you use to dry your car off with. This is really good for cleaning your stamps. So all you have to do is just wet it. It does stay stained, but it doesn't come off, and then you can just wipe your stamps off with that. So it's another, just a good idea if you have that handy as well. And then something that you can kind of scribble onto. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, instead of using watercolor paper today, I'm going to start with, this is Thick Whisper White cardstock. And pull my sleeves up, like I have something up my sleeve here. And we're going to start with the mountain again, okay? So what we'll do is we will mount our mountain just onto a clear block. We'll tell you, I can't wait to get my Stamparatus. I have less than a month to go, I think, so I'm really excited about that. I think I'm going to have to get it ordered as like next day delivery, because I'm just crazy like that. All right, so I'm going to start with, I'll start with soft suede on this one. Yeah, we'll start with soft suede. That way we can add some color into it. Because I was thinking we could do one. Another one that you could do, like similar to this, would be if you did it in like Night of Navy. So all shades of blue. That tone on tone thing just really is really, really pretty to me. I really like the tone on tone. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to ink up our mountain. And we're just going to stamp this in the back. And the pretty cool thing about this is kind of like no matter what you do, it always ends up turning out nicely. All right, so we're going to just do just those two just kind of for a baseline. So now what we'll do, and you could do this with like your Stampin' Spritzer or just like water droplets. So if you have your Stampin' spritzer filled with water, you could use that as well. But what you're going to do is, so you're going to get your colors out, and they're not like your standard. So you're going to think this is moss green, but it's not going to be like green. It's more like an art green, if that makes sense, which kind of sounds weird. But so what we're going to do is I'm going to keep this mountain guy here, and then I'm going to get out another, I'm going to get this one out for the water. I'm going to get out another one that I'm going to just sit here. Okay, so this one we can add color to. So I do shake it a little bit. I don't know that that makes any bit of a difference, honestly. And then what I did is I shook this, just kind of turn it over with your pinhole, and you just tap it. So when you see it come out, it's definitely strange. Like right now, if you can see this, and unless you can see it in person, you probably can. It's kind of orangish, which is weird, because then you're like, did I pick the right one? Yep, I picked green because that's what I thought the other day. So then you kind of just add a little bit of water, and what it does is it kind of activates the crystals. Okay, and one other thing I'm going to tell you, and this is just depending on every person because everybody is different. When you shake it, there are little tiny bits of the crystals here on the clear block. So if that annoys you, what you would do is you would like want to turn it over and tap it, because they are going to get onto your paper. But they kind of worked, I think, to my advantage, because then it kind of gave me like these little color splots, like the variation, so it looked a little bit more authentic. So I kept them because I noticed it the first time, and then I kind of was like, it looks fine. So I'm going to stamp this. So you see, it's like a yellow greeny. Okay, the other thing you can do is you can mix these colors together. So, and you can re-ink this because it still does have some stuff on it. So I'm going to wet this one now, and then instead I'm going to add my color after the fact. And then you'll see that it has a little bit more of a concentrated color in spots. So again, like working on top of this, I just made a smudge. So if this is something that will bother you, just make sure that you have a different area to stamp. That way you're not on top of your project. So we'll just go with another one here. And then one in the background. And in the meantime, if you kind of don't like what it looks like, you can always hit it with your heat tool to dry it. That way you can get a better picture of what you think it's going to look like. But then all I did after the fact was kind of just took my watercolor pen here. I can't remember what it's called at this moment. I apologize. And I just kind of drug the color out so it have like a little bit of a shadow to the bottom. And this is just using like whatever happens to be on the paper, like whatever's left with dampness. So if you want it to be more of a solid color, you can go ahead and color in. And the other thing you could do now, so we'll shake this off because it has a little bit of excess. So now what I'm going to show you now, we'll move this over to the side. I'm not going to put the pin in because it only has one hole in it. It's not really going to have a high likelihood to spill, but I'm going to do the blue. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this big, I think it's a lake. I don't know if it is supposed to be a lake or whatever, but so now I'm going to mount this one here, and I'm going to go ahead, let me shake this up real quick. I don't know that shaking really is necessary, but I'm going to shake it anyway. So you're going to tap your color. And again, if you want lighter color, especially with the blue, because the blue is very potent, you want to do less taps, so maybe just one. And then just using your brush, you kind of just wet it. So you can see it's very puddly, it's very concentrated, okay? Oh, a volcano, that is a great idea. I like that. Thanks, Cindy. That's a good idea. So when you flip this, this is most likely going to drip. So if you wanted to, you could dab it off a little bit with the towel, but I'm going to just see how it goes like this. So flip and smash that down. Okay, so then you kind of have, you can see you got your other pools of color. So if you wanted to, with this pool here, you could kind of make yourself like a river that was going to come off. But look how great this tip is. I know, you know, again, I'm like a person with ADD, that I'm kind of diverging from where I was. But the tip, so say you take this and you just inked all this up, and now you want to go and make like a dark edge against your sky. It really has such, and it really doesn't matter if you're shaky, because I am a little bit this morning. I think I didn't eat enough. But you just kind of follow these ridges, which they're not really solid anyway. And then, so if you don't have enough, you can go back, since this is already inked, dip this in here, and just follow the line of your mountain. A volcano. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you said that, Cindy. That's a great idea. Volcano. That'd be really cool. But there's like a really pretty beach card. So then look how, so you have like your edged water or your edged sky and your water here, right? So you shake this off. And then you can make this bleed out a little bit if you wanted to, whatever it is that shook around. But it's a good way to get started. So then we're done with this. We'll say we're done with that for now. We'll move this out of the way. So let's say we're not sure what we want to do with this. We're going to make it in a kind of like a sea, like a deserty kind of thing again. We'll just stick with the same thing. So you do want to clean your pen out. So what you're going to do is squeeze it and bleed it. And then it's going to just bleed all the color out till it's clear. It's going to look dirty, but it's not going to bleed. I actually used this before with black. And the black doesn't come out onto the card afterwards. So we'll shake our yellow up. And what I'm going to do is now, I'm going to shake a little bit of the color onto this block. And we'll go with, so that was yellow. And then this is, I don't know if this is like a French or whatever, but it's gamboge, which is orange. So I'll put a little bit of orange on the side over here. And again, if you don't think it comes out enough for you, you could certainly put more than one hole, but I think one hole is good enough for me. And then the last one I have is brilliant red. And again, you can always dilute these down because you can keep going over your paper again. It's definitely a little bit easier to do if you're doing it like this one is specifically onto watercolor paper, which is also why it has a much rougher look to it. Whereas this one definitely looks considerably smoother. Okay, but again, this was thick whisper white. So then what you do is you have your aqua painter, there's what it's called, and you just add a little bit of water. So you can see that turned very yellow, just a little bit. Same with the orange, very orange, and then the last is the red. Okay, so at this point, so say you wanted to add some purple. They are bleeding together. This is a pretty small block. You could add a little bit of blue to your red. And it is dark, but you can make like a dark purple. So you can see what color that is. It's very dark. You could add, swirl them together. And just, we'll see what this looks like, what color this looks like. This is kind of, oh, it's kind of like a grassy or green color. So that's a little bit of blue and blue and yellow together. We'll just follow the outline here. Okay. And then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put a little bit of red back here. So this will be our sunset area over here. And a little bit of orange. If I can pull a teeny bit of yellow. Because you kind of have that yellow that kind of radiates from everywhere. Clean this off a little bit. And then sometimes, I mean, like sometimes you'll notice, and getting these colors will just be like a little bit more practicey, but you can kind of get like that purple sky to it. This doesn't really look very purple, so please don't do what I just did. But it's a storm cloud coming from the west. But you can get your really pretty sky. This is, again, like I said, much more blendable if you have it on watercolor paper. And then the only thing that you keep doing with this, and honestly, this was just me fooling around. So you just add your ground in. So we had a little bit more of this on this side. Add your ground in. And here's the beauty of it. So say you don't like this, just dump it off, wipe off your block, and then start over. So we'll add, now this time we'll add a little bit of green and just a little bit of yellow. Okay. Yeah, again, so you don't want to open those because I've heard, and I don't know because I've not done it, because I try to learn from other people's mistakes, even though sometimes I make my own not smart mistakes, is I've heard it's very, very messy. Like that powder goes everywhere, because this powder is already a slight bit messy as it is. Okay, so now, let's see. So with our mountains, we only have the one mountain range here on this one. So what you can do is, I'm going to add some more green so it's darker. Okay. And I'm going to I'm trying not to add too much water at this point so it's a little darker. But what you can do is you can take and make like your horizon line. Okay, so your line where the ground is behind here. And at this point, if you want to add like something in the background, like, I don't know, a dead tree or a cactus in the distance, or just some sort of brush. So you just add your horizon line, and then you can kind of add your edge to the water if you wanted to, like your shore that's falling up on this lake. And you can always add some like little rocky juts there. Let me add in a little bit more of this yellow here. But you can, you can kind of make this whatever you want. You can add the houses to it. But I think it's very fun. And using this brush tip of this, you can see every once in a while there'll be like a spark of a crazy color, like a purple or something, or a blue that'll come in. It really gives you kind of like a creative spark that maybe, like I said, I certainly don't consider myself artsy whatsoever, but I think these turned out pretty well considering, this is like the third time I've used this stuff. So definitely, so the other thing you could do, so I'll just say that's finished-ish. So you could also, if you wanted to, if you didn't want to do it this way, you could sprinkle your color on there. So that's another way you could do it. You could wet this if you had your watercolor paper. You could wet it, sprinkle your color on there, and then just spread it around. But I'm going to show you one other thing that you can do. So let me just clean this brush off. Let me clean this off. Let's see if we can get rid of this a little bit. So probably after the second time, you either want to like really wash it off, or just wash it off with your chamois, or rinse it off. Same thing with your stamps. These aren't going to ever come completely clean because the Brusho does seem to be pretty concentrated, so it definitely does give some vivid color. And you could certainly clean these off with your Stampin' Sponge. It's just a little farther over there, so I don't want to keep reaching that direction. But what you can do now, so say you have, again, I have a piece of thick Whisper White. So you could take your water pencil, right? So this is nice and clean. Make sure it's clean. Yeah. So you could just spread your water just like that. So we'll take red. Valentine's Day is coming. And just sprinkle this on. Okay, so it's still pretty powdery, but you can see like the wet portions are starting to get a little wetter. And then you could just spread it. Kind of do this like into the very loose shape of a heart. Let me a little bit more over here. Okay. You can make your own little Valentine's heart. This is how I used to make hearts when I was, who am I kidding? I probably still make my hearts like this. But when I was younger and fooling around with making stuff like that. And so you can add more color if you want. You can always add more. You definitely want to be mindful about your water though. If you're using thick Whisper White versus watercolor paper. Or thick Very Vanilla. I mean, you could honestly use either one. So you have your little heart, your abstract heart there. And then what you could do is, you could do Beautiful Friend. So you could stamp this in black. This will be great just because it's got a little bit more of a length to it. The Today is All About You. So you could stamp this in black on a white piece of cardstock and lay it across here. And then you could layer this onto a black piece. You could, really good one, heat emboss this in white onto black and put it on there as a Valentine's card, or you could do more of a Valentine-y sentiment. So this is another thing you could do. And then one other one I want to show you, and I'm going to do this with some watercolor paper. So this will be the last one I'm going to show you with the watercolor paper. What the heck did I do with that stamp? Yep. I lost it. Oh, now here it is. All right, so this, we're going to take this. You know what? You wouldn't even have to do it with the flower. This will be, so this will be quick because it'll fit on there. Okay, so this is, You've Got This, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take You've Got This. We're going to, you could either do clear or white, but I'm going to do clear. So we're going to clear emboss this onto here. So let me get my Versamark. Totally wasn't prepared for this. Here I go on the sidebar again. Okay, so, and actually, you know what? Since it's so dry out, let me just grab my embossing buddy so I don't forget. All right, so again, this is a piece of watercolor paper. So we've got You've Got This, and let me see, where is my clear? Yep, that's white. Hold on, sorry for my arm. I think this is clear. Yeah, clear embossing powder. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna stamp this. Okay, grab my coffee filter, and I'm going to just dump this on here. So this is just clear embossing powder. I can clean this up later. See what that looks like. There's a little tiny line there. So what I also started keeping with me, because I was being a little crazy, is just a little paintbrush. That way, if you see that you make, like, it's kind of hard to see on this one, but if you see that you have like a little ring around it, you can brush it off with your, that looks pretty good, with your paintbrush. You can just dust it off. So we move this to the side. And we're going to use our heat tool and just heat this up. So loud for a second. Oh, Penny, it's okay that you're late. I'm late too sometimes. No worries. All right, so if you can see, that's pretty well heat embossed there. Okay, it's very hard to see because of the clear on white. But we're going to give this a second because I just want to let this dry, because if you do touch this when it's wet, it will smudge and it definitely burns your fingers. So you want to be really careful with that. So we'll go with You've Got This. We'll do the orange. So what I'm going to do is just give this I give it a little shake first. I'll find out if that actually matters, hopefully by the next time I use this. Okay. So then what I'm going to do, instead of going direct, is I'm going to put some of this powder onto my clear block. Could do this too, like almost like a rainbow. That would be really pretty. And I'm going to just add a little water just to activate it. And say you don't really like that. You're like, oh, that's not really orange enough for me. Then just go ahead back in. You can add some more powder and make it super orange. So you can see it's definitely much more orange now. Okay. And then just go over your sentiment, right? Okay, so we'll go just like that, and then I'm going to move this over so I don't dry it out. And then I'm going to just grab my heat tool again and just hit it real quick, just to dry it a little bit, just for sake of time. Otherwise I would just let this sit. Okay, so it does dry fairly quick, and I'm going to just wipe. And I'm just basically kind of wiping off the embossed. There you go. So wiping off the embossed letters. You could use a paper towel or two if you wanted to as well. But it wipes off. So then you could just trim this out. You could add this to the front of your card. So there's lots of different stuff that you can do with this. And it's definitely much, much, much more concentrated than, say, for example, if you just use like pumpkin pie. So if you had your pumpkin pie ink, and let me clean this off. So your pumpkin pie is orange, but it's very flat. It's probably not very easy to be able to tell the difference on this. Let me just try this one more second. And it definitely doesn't have the intensity that these colors have. So again, though, these only come in 5 colors, the Brusho. So it comes in Prussian blue, brilliant red, moss green, gamboge, aka orange, and yellow. So again, it just really depends on what you want to make of it. You can do something that's very tone on tone and just spread your images out with it. You can do something that's very intense in color. And it really, honestly, it's just really in what you play with it. Even here you can see there's like a little bit of like a purple just from it, the color. And like there's a couple spots it probably dripped. And then I went back and added in some like little fake line clouds. But I really appreciate that, Cheryl. I don't really feel very creative sometimes. I kind of feel like actually right now I'm in a little bit of a rut. So thank you for that. That's very nice of you. But there's a lot of different things that you can do with this Brusho. But again, I would definitely recommend don't ever, ever, ever open the pot because it'll be everywhere. And again, if you don't feel like your pin hole is enough, you can always put more than one in. But I think even if you wanted to shake some out, you can always reshake if you wanted to. So it's definitely something that'll be fun to play with. And again, once it dries, it also is, because it is a watercolor, it's going to be a little bit curlier. So what I did was when I mounted this, you can either mount it with fast fuse, or a better mount would be to use the Tombow liquid glue, because it gives a better, like a full adhesion. But this one like black, and then if you wanted to, you could put like just a little sentiment on the bottom. But sometimes when you have cards that are like this, I kind of almost feel like they're so pretty, I hate to add a sentiment to the outside. I really like, what I would do with this one is I cut another card on the inside and then put it on the inside, because this could be something almost that somebody, depending on who you gave it to, might like sit it somewhere and let it stay out. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Some people might think this would be really pretty with a sentiment on it, but I don't know. Sometimes I think that it almost takes away from the picture of it. But anyway, let me just tell you one more thing that about Celebration, and then I'm going to tell you, this is going to be one that I'm going to do for next week. And I've had this idea in mind, so I'm going to tell you what to look for now, because I was going to do it today, and then I figured I really wanted to show you guys how to use the Brusho in case it was something that you guys wanted to get sooner than later. But I'm going to tell you what we're going to do for next week, and I think you're going to hopefully be super impressed and be able to like have a huge laugh. So anyway, for Celebration, for every $50 that you purchase, you do get one free item out of the Celebration catalog, or if you spend $100, you can either pick two $50 items, or you can pick something from Tier 2, which are the Thinlits or that double stamp set. So that is going on through March 31st. It started today. Also, if there is, where's my page number 2? If you have a party, so you can have an online party, or if you have a party and you're here in Maryland, if we're going to start a new stamp club, you are able to earn extra Stampin' rewards if you have a large enough qualifying party. It actually runs now through March 31st order, so if you're interested, if you're in the Bel Air, Maryland area and you're interested in starting up a stamp club, all you have to do is send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com, and we'll try and get something figured out for you. We have to try to get a certain amount of members to make it worthwhile, but we can absolutely try and get that started. Another thing, if you would like to do, is to join the Stamp It team, which I am a part of. Tammy White is my upline. We have a lot of very, very creative ladies, also including Linda Cullen and Elizabeth Thatcher and Julia DeGia and Bobby Crouch. So many ladies that are so, so creative. So there's a great team to be part of. If you wanted to be part of the team, you could become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And right now, during Celebration, is truly, honestly, and I swear, this is when I joined, the absolute best time. This will be 2 years for me this month that I joined Stampin' Up! My birthday is next Thursday, so I joined as a birthday present to myself. So when you join as a demonstrator, you always get to pick $125 worth of stuff, but you only pay $99 and you get free shipping, which is great. But during Celebration, you get to pick 2 extra free stamp sets from anything. Doesn't matter. The only ones you can't pick are Celebration, but you get to pick 2 extra free stamp sets. So you could pick 2 stamp sets from the regular catalog. So if there's something in here you are dying to get your hands on, you could pick watercolor wings. It doesn't matter how much they cost. You could pick a background stamp. You could pick, not stamp sets, let me stick to the stamp sets. I'm going crazy in the back there. You could pick message in a bottle. You could pick birthday delivery. So you get 2 extra free stamp sets during celebration only if you join as a demonstrator. And myself personally, I am trying to achieve a goal by January 20th. So if you join by January 20th, I will throw in a extra stamp set. That is for me only, so that's only through Rachthestamper. So I will send it to you. You can pick out a 3rd stamp set, and I will send it to you for free. So through January 20th, if you join my team, all you have to do is go to rachthestamper.stampinup.net, and you click up at the top. It says Join Now. You click the button. It walks you through it. You just have to pick out the items that you want. It's really, really simple. Thank you, Karen. I'll be back next week, so you can wish me happy birthday again. I'll take all the happy birthdays I can get. So this is a super, super time to get free stuff. There is no obligation to sell anything. You can just join for the discount. I have plenty of people that have done that. There's no shame in it. That's why I started. And then another thing they have, so with Paper Pumpkin, you can get, for a 3-month subscription, you qualify for 1 free celebration item. If you get a 6-month subscription, you can get 2 level 1, so $2 $50, or you can get $100. And if you get a whole year, you can either get 4 $50 or $200, or you can get $100 and $2 $50, or whatever combination you want to do. But this is for prepaid subscriptions through Paper Pumpkin. So if you're kind of really still on the hedge about whether you really want to dive into this crafting thing head on, do Paper Pumpkin. So what you get is you get a kit that comes to you in the mail every month. And I'll show you real quick. My niece and I believe this is the one. We were creating some stuff yesterday. So this is the kit that came out in December. And we kind of, I usually go like a little bit of off-roading. So what I did is the stamp, it comes with full instructions on how to make whatever it is that you're making. See if I can get that to them on here real quick. So you have the regular cards I show you. There's a little square card and then a little card. They both have some pretty glimmer paper in the background. But I always do something crazy. So I made a little peekaboo, like a hello card back there. So I made some thank you cards for people who purchase through me. I do send you a thank you and a little something with it. So I just made some thank you cards yesterday. And then this one I did backwards because, you know, I like to do things differently. And then I put the green part on the inside instead of covering it up. And then I just added some stuff that you could see when the card was closed, but when it was open. So what you do with this Paper Pumpkin is it comes to you with all the stuff in it. Usually there's even some extra stuff. You get a stamp set that goes along with it. And they send you a Stampin' Spot. So you can take this with you on the go. It has the color. They send you some twine and some ribbon. And this time they even made a couple things backwards. So they sent you some extra ones cut the correct way. So now that's why I use the backwards one. So I can make a whole nother set of cards with it. And I will say, in case anyone from Stampin' Up is watching, I really hope they come out with this double-coated tissue tape. It was so easy to use. It's this tape that you stick onto here. And it's really, really fine. It's awesome. It's like almost up there with the Sizzix adhesive strips, which I love, love, love. But anyway, so Paper Pumpkin's a great way to do like a little bit of crafting if you're kind of working yourself in, or maybe you're not quite sure what you want to do with your crafts. And it comes to you every month. And if you get a 6-month subscription, I believe you get $1 off of the price of the kit. And if you get a year subscription, it's $2 cheaper. But it comes directly to your house in the mail, and they've even changed it so they put the side on what it is that's inside. And that way, if you're categorizing yours like mine, or going halfway up the wall, you can see what it is that you're picking from. And let me see if there's anything else I wanted to tell you before we're done with Celebration. I think that's it. In case, I'm just going to hang on here for 1 second. If anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know. And I will go back, as always, and I check through all the comments. And if you have any questions, I will do my absolute very best to answer them. And if you have any other questions that you don't want to ask on here, you can always shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. You can always find me on Facebook. You can shoot me a message on there as well. On here, I should say, as well. And I usually do repost a lot of these videos to YouTube later, and this will repost as well onto my Facebook page. So if you missed anything, you can always go back and watch it. And seriously considering joining Tammy, I hope you do. It really is a great bargain. I tell you, honestly, when I joined 2 years ago, I just joined because I could get everything 20% cheaper. And I thought, well, I was already paying for it, so I might as well. And I was really nervous because I thought there had to be a catch to it, because it can't just possibly be that easy. There's no way that you just get stuff cheaper. But you do. And then guess what? If you decide you don't want to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator anymore, then you just drop. It's really, really, it really is such a great deal. And it truly does. And I 100% agree with you. It sounds way too good to be true. But it's not. Let's see. Is Stampin' Up! Doing anything for paper crafting month this month? I think that kind of celebration savvy has taken over everything. So I think that's what their promo is that they have the celebration stuff where they give things away. So that lasts for 3 months. So I would have to assume that that probably is their promo. So I hope that answers your question. Stephanie, you get yours automatically every month. I do too. And you know, there's times I have a subscription where I'll get 2, because if it looks like sometimes they will tell you what the paper pumpkin, like give you a hint of what it might or might not be. So if it looks like it'll be something fun, sometimes I'll order 2 of them, because then I can give one away, which I did like a lot of those with the Pining for Plaid stamp sets, which is super fun. And then they had the second stamp set with the stockings. That one wasn't reorderable, I think, because they got it a little bit late. But a lot of times I'll order 2, and that's the thing about paper pumpkin. If you get a subscription and say you're going to go away, you can put it on hold for a month, and then they won't send you one. And then you could do like 2 the next month if you wanted to, or you can go back to it the next month. So it's definitely easy. It's easy to put it on hold if you are going somewhere. It's easy to take it with you if you're going on a trip. That way you have something that you can craft with, because it does come with usually either mini glue dots, or a lot of times they'll give you little packs of dimensionals, which are really cool because you really rarely use all of them. So then you can use them for something else. And the card kit that was the month before that, oh no, that was a different kit that I got, actually had strips in it. So I had some other strips that were just left over, so I could use like for all different kinds of crafts. But anyway, so what we're going to do for next week's card class, and I was driving to work last week after the Christmas holiday, and I was kind of thinking about like family and, you know, just all those kind of things where they're, you know, my mom passed away. February, it'll be actually 3 years, and there's a lot of pictures that my grandmother asked me to organize, and I'm really sad to say that I kind of dropped the ball, and I don't really know who a lot of these people are. And I was thinking, I have all these pictures, and I should have brought one upstairs with me, but the little, you know, the little old square pictures, they're probably like 3x3 or 4x4. And I thought the most awesome thing would be 2 things you could do with this. And I will definitely explain in more detail next week. But if you made a card, say you have this card, and most of them will say are like black and white or very old colors. Cindy, I'm going to go back. As soon as I'm done explaining this, I'll look at your question. But they're like black and white or old colors. So wouldn't it be cool if you either didn't know who the people were and they were doing something totally goofy, and say they were falling over laughing. So you cut out a window with your card, and then you put the picture behind it, and then you stamp the sentiment, "I'm here for you," and you just put it because they're laughing and it's funny. Or another way to do it, and I hope this makes sense, but it'll definitely make sense next week when you see it. Or if you have a picture that, say, you know, is your one of your older aunts, and she's with somebody else, and you haven't sent your aunt a card in a while, but you talk to her and you love her so much, but you just don't get to see her. So you could send her a picture of herself with a friend of hers, and then it would be like a keepsake, because she would have this picture in a card, and it would be a flashback, because it's a picture from probably like 60 years ago. And everybody probably has a box of pictures that they don't know what to do with, or they don't know who the people are in the picture. And now is the time to declutter your house. So this will be the perfect way to share these old photos. So this is what my project is going to be for next week. I hope you guys like it, and I hope it turns out like half as good as what it is in my mind. But I thought it would just be a genius way to share old pictures that either you don't know what to do with, or you don't know who the people are, or if you do know who the people are and you want to send it to one person that's in the picture, it would be so awesome. So awesome. And you could scan the picture if you had a copy, but honestly, Jessica, I have so many pictures that I have no idea who the people are. I have way more than I need. But I think it'll be so much fun. So that's going to be our card next week. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a window card with an old photo in it. And when I say old, the photos I have are probably from the 40s. Maybe even some from the 30s. So most of them are like old black and white square pictures. So I'm going to make a card. I'm going to make a couple of them next week. And I'm going to try to make one ahead of time so I can show you. But I think it'll be a super fun way to use up old pictures, make somebody happy, send out some fun mail that somebody will get a kick out of. So that's what we're going to do next week. Let me see real quick. I'm going to try and do this without messing up the feed here. Oh, let's see. Cindy said, the Paper Pumpkin Special is for joining first time. You know what? That is a very good question. It is for if you have a subscription. So let me see if I can look into here. And if not, you know what? I will find out and let you know. Nope, it is for both. So it is for new subscribers or if you're an existing month-to-month subscriber. The only thing is, so you can't buy like a 3-month. You can't do month-to-month. So basically, if you have one right now that's running month-to-month, you don't get the deal. If you get a, is that right? When they purchase a 12 months? Yeah. Yes. So if you have an existing month-to-month subscription, you could switch to a 6 or 12-month prepaid subscription to be able to get the deal. So that's basically how it works. I'm going to slide my comments back up so I can, oops, I lost them. Hold on. So I can, oh, good gracious. See what you mean. I hope that answers your question. So you can get it, but you would have to have a 6 or 12 month to be able to get the deal. But you have to be a subscriber. You can't be running on the month-to-month. So mine runs on the month-to-month, so I wouldn't get it. So if that clears that up, Cindy, and I hope, and if it doesn't, please let me know. But anyway, I will see you guys next Wednesday. It'll be my last Wednesday of doing these crazy videos, being 41 years old. And the next day I turned 42. I can hardly believe it myself. Sometimes I feel like I'm 82 when I get out of bed, and sometimes I'd like to feel like I was 4 again, like the little dude next door, because he certainly has so much energy. I would love to have like a 5th of it. But thanks, guys, for joining me as always. I will post this replay. It'll go right back on Facebook. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. I'd love to have you guys on again next week, so be sure to join me. Thanks for watching. Oh, Donna, the hostess code is on the January post, but I will add it to this once I get off. No problem. I'll add the hostess code to the top of this video as well. So thanks, guys. Stay warm. Those of you that are freezing and those of you that are in Tucson and 70 degrees weather, think about us. Thanks all. Have a great day.